Hey Boys Show. We're going to talk a little bit of expansion, SEC perspective. Jake, what are you hearing right now, and where could this go?
Well, obviously it's been Texas and Oklahoma. That's going to happen. And talking to Brent Swinnerman, the guy who broke it from the Houston Chronicle today on the episode we released, I don't think they're going to wait 2 or 3 years. Number one, because whatever conference they're in until they get here, whether that be the Big 12, Happy 10, Illustrious 8, or some merger between the Pac 12, they don't want a lame duck team in their conference. The exact same thing happened with Texas A&M. Remember, A&M was supposed to be in the Big 12 for at least another year. The Big 12 was like, no, we need to go ahead and get y'all out of here. So I expect the same thing to happen here. I think just from an SEC perspective, if you're Greg Sankey, why the hell not? Why would you not just build two more rungs to the transformer? It makes it very interesting to see what they're going to do from a divisional or pod or, just let everybody play standpoint. And again, it could get bigger. It could get bigger. And at this point, who knows?
Yeah, what matchups are you genuinely looking forward to that's going to come from this?
Well, Oklahoma, Alabama is going to be a big one, but Texas A&M, obviously. I mean, I'm looking at Arkansas and Texas, and they play this year, week 2, as well as looking at, Oklahoma, LSU. You just adding Oklahoma and adding Texas, and I know Oklahoma's ran the Big 12, but adding those two schools is not only going to renew rivalries, it's going to create them, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And excited to see where that goes. But shoot, I'm just ready to see Texas A&M again.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I am so happy for Arkansas getting Texas back. That game means so much to those people. I'm looking forward to the unintentional rivalries that's going to develop. It might be a Texas Mississippi State or something like that that's just going to develop, kind of like Ole Miss and Arkansas did, and it's going to be a decent amount of fun. We're going to move on just a little bit. Now, I was sitting here thinking, everybody talks about expansion for money, expansion for money.
Mm-hmm.
After Texas and Oklahoma comes in and the SEC gets to 16, there's kind of a law of diminishing returns after that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What I think is the most interesting story, and I don't mean to get around it, is seeing the boomerang effect that's happening throughout the rest of the conferences. I mean, you've already seen the Pac-12 and Big 12 have gotten together. That's going to happen. That merger is going to happen. What does the ACC and the Big 10 do? And better yet, Steve, what does Notre Dame do? Because if I am in the SEC right now, and I'm in a conference that is a merger of the Big 12 and Pac-12, and a conference that is a merger of the ACC and the Big 10, I'm not scheduling Notre Dame. We're not playing you. They're already going to have to add an extra conference schedule at least to the season, bringing the SEC to at least 9. Why would you go out and schedule Notre Dame? And on top of that, what does Notre Dame's strength of schedule look like now? So I just think the boomerang effect has been unbelievably interesting. If the Big 12 does merge with the Pac 12, what happens to West Virginia? I mean, they're basically an ACC country. So there's so many interesting caveats that can go left or right at this thing. But look, anything's the law of diminished return once you got it. I mean, presents start going bad the minute you unwrap them, especially when Dylan got Hulk hands and Brennan got the wallet. But no, looking at it, it's so interesting, man, and I just can't wait to see where we end up.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to where it's going to go. It's going to be nice if the SEC fans can just sit back and enjoy it because
Yeah.
the first domino going down is the one that's going to set all this off. Now, what are you hearing about the Big 12 and the Pac-10 or Pac-12?
Well, I'm hearing they're gonna merge. Not only did I hear that, I had somebody who's at the pretty high levels of an athletic department. I know that sounds so bad saying that without
Yeah.
being able to say their name, but I'm not going to say their name. Is they told me that the merger's a matter of time. The head coaches already know in conferences that aren't included in those two conferences, and that I was also told, and this is really random, and I don't think they'll be the only teams that don't go, but don't expect Kansas and Texas Tech to go with the Big 12 merging into the Pac-12. So. Again, man, it is absolutely uncharted territory and uncharted waters. But they have to combat it, Stephen. I mean,
Mhm.
they have to. The SEC's already dominated. Now you add Texas and Oklahoma. I mean, they're just going to keep giving you swirlies till the end of time.
Yeah, the power shift that Greg Sankey has been able to pull off in this is not going to be able to be understated. The SEC is going to dictate college football from here forward, and everybody else is going to have to fall in line. You're not going to be dictated to by a Division III Ohio school. You're not going to worry about a low-level G5. If you want a paid third receiver in college baseball, this move is the way you get it.
Yeah. And, you bring up a great point. Everybody's talking about Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC in football, and I understand that. Look what they bring in baseball. Look what they bring in basketball. Look what Oklahoma brings in softball and gymnastics. I mean, those are two of the elite programs in two sports that the SEC already just takes a bite out of everybody. So again, the rich get richer, and it may not stop here, because what I think may happen, Stephen. And listen, ego gets involved in everything. It gets involved in everything. It's a natural human condition. What's going to stop the Big 12 and Pac-12 from saying, you know what? Well, the SEC's got 16 teams. Let's go to 20 teams. That's why I think you heard that report about Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan, and Florida State being contacted by the SEC, because I'm not a mathematician. This isn't Bletchley Park. I'm not Benedict Cumberbatch, but I do know that 16 plus 4 is 20, and they want to make it equal. So looking at that, man, is it healthy for long-term college football? Who the hell really knows? Like, I think everybody's like, no, it's horrible for football. I think the transfer portal, being able to transfer interconference without sitting out a year, is way more devastating than any of this stuff.
Yeah, all the changes that are going on, it feels like, looking in hindsight of what's going on, it was the ground being paved for a move like this to happen. The NIL, the one-time transfer fee, it is designed to make the SEC the preeminent conference in college football. It already was, but now you're not even going to be able to see second place.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, look, I always say on the show, if you're not evolving, you're dissolving. And just like any big government, I guess, their biggest worry is about keeping power. Well, how do you keep power? You keep making moves, and you keep making moves while you're in power so you can dictate the terms of those moves. And look, in college football, the SEC is the dictator. That they really are. I mean, Greg Sankey kept this under wraps for 6 months.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And they told nobody.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing that they could last that long and it just not get out. Because Texas, especially Texas, they're notorious loudmouths when it comes to stuff like this. There's rumors that a couple of years ago, the boosters and their need to be loudmouths and need to talk is what cost them Nick Saban.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, so the fact that they were able to keep quiet for 6 months while all this was going on, it is an absolutely monumental thing.
Yeah, and look, what did Lil Wayne say? Real G's move in silence like lasagna. When I look at it, because again, people have to understand, and I understand A&M fans being upset. I get it. I understand the administration being upset. But that gentleman's agreement was between Mike Slive and another party, not Greg Sankey and another party. So it's hard to get mad at Greg Sankey. And I think over time, my challenge is to A&M fans, and a lot of them are already coming around to it, stay and fight. Y'all got a much better roster and better personnel than Texas does. You really want to bury them? Bring them out in the backyard and beat their ass to death in front of everybody. And that's how you bury them.
Yeah, and also props to Texas A&M, because this is the first real decision, because they came from a background into the SEC where it was me. The SEC has always been we over me. And Texas A&M, during this thing, when it went against them, they just had to be led down that road to see the benefit for everybody. But they culturally proved with this decision that they belong in the SEC.
Yeah, without a doubt. And look, Missouri came in swinging too. Now, neither one of them have won the conference. And when I look at it, at the end of the day, they've added value to the conference. I mean, Missouri came because the St. Louis and Kansas City market. That's why they were taken in the SEC. A&M, we know the money, the resources, getting that brand name in Texas, in that state. Now you add the state school. Look, I'm with you. At the end of the day, they proved that, like you said, you could come in this conference and not get slapped around if you got your ducks in a row. And they've got them, and I'm sure Texas will, and I know Oklahoma will. And you're doing nothing but making the conference deeper.
Okay, after Texas, Oklahoma, what's your prediction next? What do you think's going to happen?
Oh, man. I'd be shocked if we saw any more movement before the season. I think they're going to wait to see what the Big 12 and the Pac-12 officially do. Once that merger happens, I think they're going to look at the amount of teams and make a decision off that. But at the end of the day, me trying to guess, it's like trying to guess what the NCAA enforcement committee is going to do. There's
Yeah.
really not a good answer. But no, it's only going to get crazier. And again, this fodder is not going to stop throughout the season. I mean, you got Texas and Arkansas week 2. What a preview! And how much more money did that game just make?
Oh my goodness, terrific. But Jake, man, thank you very much for stopping by today. The J Boy Show. If you're not watching the J Boy Show in the morning, first thing in the morning, you're doing it wrong. So appreciate it, Jake.
Hey, I appreciate the kind words, man. You're killing it, brother. Let me know when you want me back. I got to get you on the show.
All right, no doubt. I'll talk to you then.